I'm Fee the Writer Bee. Welcome back to my channel. This has to be the first time that I've actually done a Camp NaNoWriMo or NaNoWriMo update at all that is actually on time. So I had a pretty good writing month. My total for Camp NaNoWriMo was 50,394, which is above my goal, which was 31,000 words. I came up to the goal of 31,000 words because my goal was to write 1,000 words minimum every single day of the month for July, and I have not done that. There were 6 days over the entire month that I didn't write. My first day of non-writing was on the 13th. My second day of non-writing was on the 16th, and then I had 4 days of non-writing between the 22nd and the 25th of this month. My biggest writing day was 5,481 words, which was on the 27th. And my smallest writing day was 1,029 words on the 12th. I got those totals over 4 stories out of the 7 stories that I allowed myself to work on for the month. And for the first time in I do not know how long, I did not fandom jump at all. I worked on Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction the entire month. Fandom jumping is something that I am really bad at. So as it is, I'm bad enough story jumping, but 4 is a small number of stories for me. There's been months where I've worked on over 50 stories in 1 month over multiple fandoms, so keeping it to only one fandom and such a small amount of stories worked on is really good for me. The 3 stories that I didn't work on at all, one of them's a really old story where I got to a point with that story and I do not know how I'm going to continue it, and I still don't know how to continue it, so it's just sitting there. And the other 2 stories I didn't work on. One's 500 words and the other's 700 words. They were just plot bunnies that I needed to get out years ago, and I'm still not 100% sure whether I will work on them or just keep them as a small one-shot or end up discarding them altogether. But for now, they'll just sit there until I decide what I'm going to do. The least amount of writing I did on the stories that I worked on was 1,410 words, and the most writing that I did on those 4 stories was 30,267 words. The most stories that I worked on in a day was 2 stories, which is a small amount for me because normally I will have worked on every single story that I'm actively working on in a month within the 1 day. And when I was doing my story jumping this month, I was getting to a certain point. If I found myself waning with the words, if I didn't have a direction for where I was going to continue, then I would go on to another story. And usually when I felt myself getting to that point again, I would then go to bed because I did most of my writing this month after work. So usually by the time I got to that second lot of not wanting to work on anything, I'd just then go to bed and sleep. So my longest streak of only working on 1 story is 5 days with working on nothing else, and 6 days if you include a day where I story jumped. I didn't finish any of the stories this month. I have 2 of the stories that are pretty close to completion. One that I was hoping to finish, but I didn't end up working on as much as I wanted. That was the story I only did 7,000 words on the story I want to complete. The story that I want to complete, I've got past the original draft, and it is all... there's no outline or anything for past that point, so I just need to work out where I'm going with that story before I continue it. Two of the stories I was considering merging into one at the start of the month, but after working on both of them over the entire month, they're now past the point where I can merge them both successfully. My other story branched in a completely different way than I was expecting, which made majority of the original outline and draft and out of order stuff that I'd written useless now. So those two stories are definitely not getting combined and will be staying separate. Yeah, so total 50,394 words for Camp NaNoWriMo. Would love to hear how you did with your own camp below.